We are talking about Quantum Leap, episode 8 of season 1 of the Quantum Leap 2022 variant. And the season is moving real well here. I gotta say, if you didn't see our theory video, I will put the link in the description, and this time it will be at the end of this video. You need to go check it out because so far the last 2 or 3 episodes have proven that we are on the right path. So do not miss that. Go check it out. And we're going to talk about this week's episode. How you doing, Shay?
That's a really good point. We were going on a hiatus. What a weird word. So Quantum Leap's going on a hiatus, and it essentially leaves us off. Like the last 3 episodes, something's happened that exactly lines up with our theory in that video. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. And now we're left off with, Ben knows. He knows why he left. Like that's like the thing we've been waiting for. Now we have to wait till January 2nd to find out why.
I know these people, bro.
It's a good mid-season finale.
What's the name of the guys that ran the creator again? Donald
Belisario.
Hey, Donald Belisario. You know what you're doing.
Yeah, and Martin Giro.
I remember. Oh no, I'm leaping, and now the audience can't see it for 4 months or whatever.
Yeah, it's gonna be. It's cool. It's like almost a little less than 2 months, but it's we'll be back, and then when we come back, it's another. How are they gonna do this? Let's see. That was episode 8. We get a total of 18, so we're gonna come back and do 10 more episodes.
I like that.
It's great.
Yeah. All right, so let's just
check out that video if you haven't.
Yeah. Where can they find it, Shane?
It's on the Popcast on YouTube. You know.
Do you know the URL of our channel?
I have no idea. I have no idea what it is. Thepopcast.co, I think, or something. Or Popcast. What is our domain?
Oh my God, Shane. All right, so you can go to
I don't do this part.
youtube.com/thepopcast or @thepopcast or popcast.co, and you can find all of our channels there.
I literally type in the search the Popcast, and that's how I find our thing every time.
All right. I don't
so well though.
This is how it works, everybody. If we like something, we give it an upvote. If we dislike something, we give it a downvote. And at the end of the episode, we're going to average those 2 numbers and give you an official Popcast score that you can take to the bank in exchange for nothing, because it's actually not worth anything, but it means something to us.
And as inflation goes up, it becomes It becomes worth even less.
Actually, yeah. As inflation goes up, you will owe us money if you take it to the bank.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So let's get this party started. We open up on Ben's leap. Ben leaped into the body of what appears to be a 16-year-old child named Ben, coincidentally. And it looks like they are trying to escape what is clearly a youth detention camp of some sort. I don't know what it is. It's called the Sierra
Academy.
Sounds great.
It sounds great.
Fun. Yeah, it sounds like I want to go to this place.
Except they put kids in boxes here, so I don't know.
Right, it got weird. Got weird there toward the end.
It got weird for a second. It's like, hold on a sec. There's a box that you put kids in.
Right. Yeah. Don't they do that in prison?
I think they need more than child endangerment, which I think was what they get at the end of here. I mean, I'm pretty sure serial killers get thrown in prison for stuff like that. So,
right. I found it really interesting too that their boxes are outside in the front yard where the news team shows up.
Can see them.
I was like, guys, when you're doing nefarious stuff, you got to hide it. You don't put it in the front yard.
Well, they didn't look like extraordinarily intelligent bad guys, if you notice.
No, they didn't.
It was like a bad Scooby-Doo episode of Bad Guy. It was Mr. Dinkles.
It was Mr. Dinkles in the bush with the weed whacker. Like, what? So they steal a car, and they are trying to escape this youth academy that their parents sent them to. Their parents probably assumed that it wasn't that bad. And they were trying to get these kids help because they have various issues. So Shane's going to have to help me with this one because I didn't understand all the issues, and I don't really like kids. And my kids are not. I'm being real honest here.
I have children, but I do not like them.
I like my kids. I do. I love my kids. They're amazing. I don't like other people's kids. So like when my relatives bring like their kids to my house, and like they get really like kitty.
Handsy?
No, not handsy. What the fuck? That's not what I said.
What? I don't know. I'm trying to like pull off here.
I don't know what's the term for like when kids get real.
Like they make a noise and you like hear that they're in.
No, they can make like childish. Like they get like whiny and sort of like. Okay, for instance, I have this nephew that comes to my house every day. We watch my sister-in-law's kids, right? And because they go to because she works at the school my kids go to. Anyways, they're fine kids, but like they'll do something like he'll ask me for chips. Can I have chips? No. Can I have chips? No. Can I have chip? Look at me. Look at my face. No. And he'll turn it off for a minute, and then he'll come back, and he'll just be like this: chips, 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 chips. I want chips. Give me chips. I want chips. I'm like, dude, I can't spank you, but I'm like thinking about.
You know how to fix that problem?
Thinking about it right now. I'm thinking about maybe just hitting you, and I don't want to hit you because like you're a small child. But like if you were an adult, I would have punched you in the face 5 minutes ago.
I have a fix for that problem.
What is it?
Always keep some stale chips at the house, like really stale chips that aren't, won't make him sick or anything. And then every time he asks for chips, just give him those, and he'll stop asking for chips. Like, and then it's over.
He's a good kid, and I do like him, but because he's a child, and children do childish things, they just sort of do that, or they get in arguments, or they get angry that they have to do something, so they like. Like the second you go, hey, go pick up your book bags, they start fighting with each other, and it's almost like a way for me to be like, don't do anything, just go away.
Yeah,
never mind.
Children,
don't do anything, just completely leave my sight and stop speaking to each other. They do that, bro.
So Brian saw his future in this episode that we're talking about with these kids.
And I'm downvoting it.
You're downvoting because you got stressed out about your future with these kids. Okay, I got it. Because these are teenagers and you haven't gotten there yet.
And that's probably what it is. Maybe because I haven't gotten to the teenage portion. I don't understand this because like I told you earlier, like when my kids start acting like remotely like this, I'm just like, stop it, and they stop.
Yeah, in a few years you're going to be begging for them to bug you about chips. Instead, it'll be like, where's my crack pipe? It just gets really crazy.
Don't speak that into existence. I'm downvoting that too. I'm going to downvote your statement right there. Where's my crack pipe?
You can't downvote me. I didn't do this in the show.
So this teenager, her problem is like her mom passed away and her father was an alcoholic and she started like acting out.
Yeah, like she lit her house on fire. So yeah, that's.
So that is the definition of acting out.
Like, I'm pretty sure if there's people inside, there's a big problem. So yeah, that's why she's there.
That seemed extreme to me. Like,
it happens. Yeah.
My wife's mom died when she was that age, and she didn't light anyone's house on fire.
Right. Everybody's
the
different.
way she acted out was she married me.
They're like, oh my God, why'd you marry him? Because I'm acting out.
2 years later, she marries me. Your family's like, I can't believe it. But that's her problem, and this kid is like a drug addict, right?
Yeah, he's got drug issues, and he may have tried to kill himself on his last overdose. So yeah.
So his plan is to go to Alaska and to find a job where no one else is. I guess he's trying to avoid the drugs. I
guess his dad was pretty physical with him. The girl you saw before, she wanted to go be a dealer in Las Vegas. That's like her plan.
Yeah, he said, you want to be a stripper in Vegas? She goes, no, a blackjack dealer. Okay. I mean, I guess that's not a bad job, right?
I mean, a lot of people do it. Mostly now, a lot of the, it seems like most of the dealers in Las Vegas seem to be Asian immigrants. Like when you go to Vegas now and you go around, it's like almost all Asian people.
It's because they're so smart, they're gonna catch you.
I don't know what it is, but I got this great story. Like one time I was sitting at the roulette table and it was me and my wife and this other lady. And all of a sudden she's like, she said, don't do that, arsehole, asshole. Well, I heard asshole. And I'm like, all right, I won't, bitch. Right? Like that was like my response. And the look on her face, like, was intense. Like she got so angry and she turned to the pit boss. And like the pit boss came over, she's like, he needs to go. And I'm like, what? She called me an asshole, right? Is what I said, right? And luckily the lady sitting next to us is like, I'm so sorry. That's what I heard as well. She really meant to say also. She was telling me also.
Oh my God.
I heard asshole. So I was jokingly cussed back at her.
Right.
And I almost got kicked out of the Venetian.
Wow.
So, yeah.
The high roll over here at the Venetian, huh? Jeez.
Well,
Those
I
tables
wasn't
are
staying
expensive.
there. I was just gambling
I
there.
was perusing. Like, yeah, actually, I was staying at the station house about 17 miles the other way.
That's about right. Or Circus, whatever.
I was staying at the place that has rooms you can rent by the hour.
That's the Oasis down the street. Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, that's my Vegas story.
That's crazy. Yeah. I think that they're just real sharp. So I think that like Vegas has learned how to hire people that are like just real sharp at catching the people
Well, I
trying to
also
cheat.
think like Asian families are really good at like setting up their families, especially the immigrants that come in. Like they're really good at making sure everybody's got a job, and once they kind of get into a system, they can bring everybody else in. It's actually pretty clever.
So on to this third kid. So she was a straight A student. Apparently, at first I thought her problem was that like she was lesbian. That was her problem.
It is partially her family thinks she's evil.
Right. Yeah. So it was that, and then later on we figured out that she also tried to like kill herself. And that's
Well, I think that. Well, so here's my thought: is like she's a straight A student, but she's like a lesbian, and her family doesn't accept it, so she started cutting herself. Like the whole family reacting to who you are is what causes kids to cut these days. Like cutting is like a new thing. I think it's only like, I want to say it's been like the last couple of, maybe like 14 or 15 years. I didn't hear about it for like 15 years ago. And, but it seems to be extraordinarily normal these days for kids who have problems to cut themselves. And I don't know, I guess pain allows you to have control of something. I don't know. Kids who don't feel like they have control.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. I don't know. I never really had any of these problems, so I don't really understand any of them. That's another thing too. Maybe I'm not connecting with this episode because I don't have kids that have these issues. I never had any of these issues. My problem is that my problem growing up was probably that I had like really bad ADD and I like to steal things. That was my issue.
So you would have been in this camp. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
I would have been in this camp.
That's what that other kid was. Ben, the guy he leapt into, that literally was the problem. He had Asperger's.
Really?
Right? Yeah, he had Asperger's and a klepto problem.
So I'm the Ben character in this.
You're Ben.
This is why I don't connect with these kids, because like the person I should be connecting to isn't there.
You don't connect with them because you're one of them. No. Oh, people who cut that I'm from the experience I have, some people cut and they like are teasing about killing themselves, but some people just cut not to kill themselves. So, and this is one of those situations. She was not cutting to kill herself. She was just cutting to feel pain and be in control somehow.
I don't want to feel pain. That's interesting.
Yeah, me neither.
All right, so they have left they have school, and then what happens is, and I wish I can show you the clip of this, but like the car I can't. So, but the car the tire blows out and it tumbles down the ravine or whatever into the woods, and miraculously no one is hurt, which is surprising. Everyone's fine. The car is on its side. They get out, and that's when Addison shows up and says, look, according to history, these kids went for a hike and died. And it was clear right there for me that was the story the camp made up, and it had nothing to do with the actual story, right?
Yeah. So they gave him a legitimate reason for running.
Right.
You know, something bad's going on at the camp.
Right. Now, when Addison shows up and he explains that, that Janis showed up, I was like, this is my first upvote. I actually said to myself after last week's episode, if the first thing Ben doesn't say to Addison is Janis showed up, I'm going to have a problem.
Right. Or, yeah, because we won't know. Ben's not supposed to remember, so he should have no problem telling her about Janis.
Right. And I felt like these two stories sometimes feel disconnected from each other. And like we need Ben and Addison's conversation updating each other on what's going on in their two separate storylines. We need that to connect them. So that was good.
I'll give that enough vote as well. I think that's a good one.
All right. Yeah, she explains that basically he needs to save these kids. And he immediately, I found it interesting that this girl thought he was talking to his imaginary friend because she also had an imaginary friend.
Right.
I'm not looking forward to having teenagers. If this is like the template, if this is like the way most teenagers are, I don't know what to do. Like it might be in 3 years that you got to talk to me. I'm just a beaten man with no hair. I'm like,
is that what I am? Because I did not have gray hair until I had teenagers.
Right, dude. Shane used to have vibrant blonde hair, and you know what's crazy? As early as when we started the Popcast, because you're the guy that drew your cartoon for our logo drew it based on your actual hair color.
Right, which was blondish.
That was like 4 years ago, Shane.
Well, I think it's longer than that, right?
No, it's been like 4 years. We that logo and the official channel was like 4 or 5 years tops, right?
Oh, so basically it's like I ran for president and I spent 4 years in the Oval Office. Okay, we're good.
So Shane's hair has turned gray in less than 4 years.
That's because all 4 of the kids in that car actually live in my house.
Oh, jeez.
So
he's talking to my imaginary friend. I thought that was interesting. I liked how they and I'm gonna give it an upvote because like they instantly accept that he just talks to imaginary people.
Well, what I like about it is it's always so hard for them to hide the fact that he has to talk to Addison, and that was one of the things that was always a problem in the original series. Is like, how do you make it realistic with other people around that you can actually have these conversations? Now he's in the woods with these 3 other people. It's going to be hard for them to be apart. So kudos to the writing team for creating a scenario with which he could just kind of communicate, and it didn't have to take us away from the story. So,
right. Well, and it showed that they're very accepting people, probably because, when broken people are usually pretty accepting of other broken people. I've noticed that in life. I've been a broken person. I've worked with broken people. I still work with broken people all the time in our community center. And I got to say, no matter when a person has a lot of problems, it's very interesting how extremely inclusive and accepting they are of other people. It's almost like they've gone through so many problems that they can identify, even with something that they have no experience with. They can identify instantly with someone and be like, you know what? I don't know exactly what's going on, but I don't have any imaginary friends, but I can totally see how that would be something you have to deal with. So it's cool.
Right.
So I get it. I understand that, and that was a good thing. All right. He doesn't even try to explain it to her. He's just like, yeah, I guess. I found it interesting.
It'd be funny. These kids would be like, that's the wisest 16-year-old I've ever heard. Like everything coming out of his mouth is so like wise.
Yeah, and it definitely helped that he no, I'm sorry, not him. That the little girl who cut herself, whatever, she was the one who stole like the compass and the map and all that. I'm like, that seems very fortuitous.
Can you turn on the subtitles?
I think they're on.
They're not already on?
Oh, let me check. Yeah, they're on.
Can't remember exactly what Janis says here, and I'd like to. I thought it was important though.
Let me check.
Or it might have been in one of his little flashback moments because he starts to remember Janis.
Oh, he does at the very end when he's looking at the pipe. The pipe.
There's a couple of moments where he kind of remembers. Yeah.
Yeah, the pipe triggered his memory. I think Janis didn't actually say anything. It was just showing that she was using the imaging chamber.
Okay.
So this is when they figured out that Janis got in their system, and they figured out that because her system would need to use a similar amount of heavy power to get through the jump and all that, that they can find out where she was, and they locate her position, and like, let's go take care of her. And there you go. Back in the woods with the kids.
You're like with the urchins.
The urchins. These street thugs.
There are no bad children, just misunderstood young adults.
They're breaking up all their stuff, and they only have a bottle. I'm not going to go through all of it, but they basically have a bottle of water and a bunch of nonsense. Except for the compass and the map that the really smart girl stole for reasons.
And Addison's like, if they go into the woods, they're all going to die.
Right. Addison tells that. And he tries to like talk to them, and he's trying to talk to them like an adult would talk to kids.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to upvote that, because he's like, no, what are you doing? We're going that way. And they're like, who are you, bro? Go ahead. Do whatever you want, weirdo. I feel like this is definitely what happened to my kids. I'd be like, no, stop going out into the road with active traffic. They're like, whoa, dude, controlling much?
Oh,
so he basically has to tell them not to do it. They're not listening. So he needs to get more information about them so he can try to connect them so he can get them to not die. Okay. All that's fine. Not worthy of uploads, downvotes per se. Back to this thing. Jen, is it Jen?
Yeah, it's Jen.
It's Jen. What's her last name?
Chow.
Oh, man.
Let me double check.
Yeah.
I better double check.
Yeah, I thought it was like Jen
right.
Chen.
Jen Chow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jen gets a call from her dad. She ignores it. And then she goes back to tracking her thing. Magic, on their way to the elevator, is trying to talk to her about her father. And she's like, I don't want to talk to my father. He's a douchebag, blah, blah. Go ahead.
I thought that was kind of weird. Isn't it kind of weird that your boss like knows about your father? Like the father's calling him now, I guess, to try to get hold of her.
You know what's interesting is like sometimes our dad will call me and be like, hey, Shane hasn't picked up my phone in a while.
Does he really?
Yeah. Is he okay?
I'm like Jen right there.
Right. And I'm like,
yeah, no.
He's fine, Dad. I'm sure he's fine. So I think that like when like these sort of like rough parents are not connected to their kids, and they can't connect to their kids, and their kids are ignoring their calls because their parents just want something from them constantly. I have one of those too. I think that they reach out to anyone around them in their orbit that they have communication with, so they can try to guilt them into calling them. It is a sociopath thing to do, in my opinion. My biological mom has done the same thing multiple times, and she needs validation from her son that she screwed over for 40 years.
Yeah, I did not like this B story. I get why they did the B story this week. They did it because it attaches to the A story. You've got kids who are troubled, who are struggling with their parents and their relationships. And so so they associated it back to the Quantum Leap project, where you've got Jen, who's a young adult or an adult, still having problems with her parent. And the whole idea is to kind of repair things. Now, the kids, it wasn't so much about repairing with the parents, but they took that here into the B story. And, when Jen gives her story about how, like, every time her dad comes around, like, she gives him money and then he screws her over. Like, let me just be honest with you here for a second. When a parent does that to a child, first off, it's just disgusting and sad. But after how many times do you have to continue to be the bigger person, right, in that situation? And here Magic is basically talking her into letting her dad do this to her again.
Right.
So I guess in some point you hope that it doesn't happen again. But what would be hilarious is that Magic does it. She meets her dad. She gives him $1,000 and he disappears. And you're like, Magic. Okay, so look, I told you, Yeah,
I have this thing about, and maybe it's because I was raised wrong, but you guys tell me, why is it that family always like trumps logic? I've never understood that. Like, I don't mind giving people second chances or third chances or whatever. I don't mind when people are really apologetic or have, like, maybe they have drug issues, maybe they're coming to you for help. I understand those things. But, like, there's got to be a point when, and I don't care if you're family or you're a friend or you're your neighbor or you're a guy you met on the street, if someone is taking advantage of you enough where you feel like, well, this person is not, like, I don't need to associate with this person anymore. Why is it that, right. And tell me why, please, in the comment section. Why is it that for some reason family is allowed to trump the logical conclusion of disconnecting with someone who is toxic?
I don't think it does.
And neither do I, but for some reason my wife thinks it does. People we know think it does. People are like, you know what, but they're family. But they're family, I don't care. Why does a blood relation all of a sudden mean I have to take crap from you? I don't get it.
I mean, taking a little crap, I think, is important. You know, they're family, so you got to take some crap. But there comes to a point where, like, you're full. You can no longer consume any more crap.
Yeah, you've filled up the crapper, and now it's time to get off the pot permanently.
Now my breath stinks, and you're gone. I mean, that's just how it works.
Right, yeah, but for some reason, I get this a lot from people. Like a family needs to automatically get, like, this automatic pass for things. You know, there's this thing growing up that I remember very clearly when someone said, look, like, there's family and there's friends. Like, family is you know, family is what you were born into, but friends are the family you chose. And, like, in my opinion, family might get a little more of a pass for having a history with you, but a friend that has the same amount of history with you gets the same amount of leeway for me. Which means that whether you're a friend or your family, you know, your history with me is going to determine how much crap I'm going to take from you, not because you happen to be blood related. So
I think that's fair. I think that's the way it should be. But, you know, maybe this is why families consist of also a wife to our that way we have some balance, because we might just, like, lock the door and not let anybody in ever.
What would I do if I had $1 billion? I would never see anyone ever again.
Like, for real. That's why you'll never win the $1 billion.
Right. My wife comes in like, I don't want to do that. This includes you. Get out.
Here's your 500 million. See ya.
See you later. All right. So Janis locks him in the elevator and to buy her time to get out of her facility. And
they had to know Janis was going to be one step ahead.
And right? This is a downvote, because if she still has access to your systems, why are you acting like she can't see and hear what you're doing?
Well, they just figure out this episode that she might be using the cameras. So I feel like they kind of should have known that before. But.
Yeah, this is why I'm getting a downvote. They should have known that. They're very smart. Ian is clearly a smart person. They should have already known this. And they're surrounded by a bunch of other technicians that we don't know or hear from, but they should be smart enough to know. Someone should have known that Janis has control of their systems so he can use the cameras. If I had said, hey, Shane, someone has control of our router at our office, my first thing would be like, they can see our cameras. That'd be the very first thing I said to you.
Well, Jen, if she wasn't distracted by her dad calling, she is the security person, she probably would have thought about it.
Thanks, Dad. Thanks.
Give me $1,000.
Now here's your $1,000 and get out of here. Back to the woods. They're gonna be hiking 5 miles to a cabin that Ziggy says is not on the map. Mm-hmm. So immediately, by the way, this is actually good writing. I thought that that girl was misinformed, and that the information that Ben is getting from Addison was the correct information. We do figure out that the cabin is actually there, but it's not on the grid, which is why it wasn't there on the map.
Well, and what's interesting is it was being used by the school people.
Right. That's pretty cool. There's a scene, and I'm going to upvote it, with some wolves that come, and they're like going to attack the kids. And the smart one's like, you got to be bigger and scarier than they are. And they all go roar at the same time, and the wolves back off. I've done that to a dog, and I got bit once. It doesn't really work. I think I just made the dog more mad when I did that.
It probably depends on the kind of dog.
Right. This was a husky. I then proceeded to beat the crap out of it because it was mean. And it was trying to attack me and my kids. But to be fair, I tried to go the route where I'm like, oh, and it's like, just spit back. So they escaped that.
Scrumptious.
Yeah, I guess. So that works for them. I mean, maybe that works with wild animals. That's cool. I think it was cool. They have this big conversation. We're burning through this. We were trying to get to the important part. This is what right here is when they're talking about like their troubles at the camp and their problems of their life, and this is what it looks like the little holes they have to stay in. It looks a lot like what they had the kids from that movie Holes stay in.
That's true. There was also another movie where they had to stay in boxes that were kind of out front. I can't remember. It was like a prison movie.
Yeah, so these are like prison boxes.
Yeah.
Back at the B story, or we like to call it the Quantum Leap facility. They are attempting to get Janis out of their system, get them out of the elevator, and figure out how to deal with the leap in progress. And Ian had this moment that was, I'm going to give an upvote, and you could tell me what you think about it, where he tries to make a joke. I actually like this character a lot. And he's like, I'm only doing like 13 things here. That should almost get a downvote from me because he's surrounded by other technicians and he's the only one doing anything. They're all just sitting like this, like, oh yeah, look at the red lights. I don't know why that's the case, but that was the case. And then that's when Magic and her have this conversation about her dad and how she needs to reach out to him, which, by the way, Magic, I disagree. I don't understand why you're even involved in your employee's personal life, but you know what? Maybe they have that relationship. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, they have a very close relationship, obviously, but
yeah. There comes a moment when the younger smart girl breaks her leg or shin or ankle or something. And of course, Ben knows exactly how to address it.
No, he didn't know. Addison helped him.
Well, Addison knew. But yeah. From their perspective, this kid who is all of a sudden acting like an adult knows everything.
Right. I thought this would have been a cool episode if he had just given it away, almost. Would have been interesting for him to just be like, yeah, I'm not this guy. I'm actually leaping through time. I thought it might happen for a second.
I'm a 48-year-old man in child's, but that wouldn't have worked out, bro.
No, it wouldn't have worked out really well.
What do you mean you're a 48-year-old man? So they fix her up. Back to the B story. Ian's trying to figure it out. Blah, 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 blah. They are running low on water here, and this is important. They're trying to get to a creek that on the map it shows there's a creek, a water creek. But of course, this is the year 1996, and it's like peak drought. Remember that?
No.
Wasn't
peak drought is no. Peak drought is now.
Oh, okay, so I'm sorry.
No, 96 was still good.
So let me explain how a drought works in California. It never goes away. It just gets worse every year. That's the drought. And you have like these brief moments where like, oh wait, maybe there isn't a drought, and then you realize a year later, oh yeah, it's even worse than it was last time I checked.
What's funny is if you look at where these guys are, they're like basically up near Lake Tahoe.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty close. There's a lot of running water up there.
Yeah. So the creek they got to, though, it dried up or whatever, and he's like stressing out. He's freaking like, I don't know how to save these kids, man. And they're like, yo, you good? And he sees the pipe and he realizes that is an intake valve. Now, why is that an intake and an outtake valve? I don't know, but that's what he says, intake valve. And it also triggers his final memory about him and Janis, which is important. So they go in the cabin. Yeah, there's a cabin, and what's funny is like they found the intake valve during the day, and by the time you get to the cabin, it's night. Look at it.
Oh, was it really?
Look at it. They show you the cabin. Just to be clear, like they follow the intake valve. They see the cabin. The next scene, it's dead night, and there's candles.
Oh, well, maybe there was some wasted time we don't know about.
I don't get it though. Like they literally walk right into the cabin. He's like, I found the cabin, guys. Like, how far away was that cabin?
No, you could see it. It wasn't far.
Right, there's the cabin.
Well, that's not the one you've seen. That's the one where they go inside.
Oh.
The one where you see is he actually looks at the pipe and then he takes like 4 steps to the right and you can see the cabin. So, well, it's light outside. Look to the left.
Oh, so
the
it's just
window.
dark inside there. I see.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. And they're talking about their problems and all that, whatever.
Brian, they're talking about all their problems.
Magic is
Whatever.
talking to Jen about
So
her
over
problems.
teenager problems, hearing guys and kids talking about
A
problems.
lot of people talking about their problems. I got to admit, I got problems. Everyone got problems. It's just so much talking about problems, dude.
It's too much.
And then the guys from the academy / prison.
I almost thought that was the dean from Community.
Community.
Right there.
It's Deanerific.
That would have been fun.
They find the kids, and young, smart, grade A student decides to sacrifice herself for the kids, and she's like, "I'm out here, come get me, and my leg is broken, I can't run." And they come out, and like they're total dicks. Like they immediately like squeeze her leg
to make sure she's not faking.
She's not faking it. Like, what is wrong with you?
So much. Look, this guy looks like traditional evil bad guy.
It's like every moment they can remind you that these guys are bad guys. They did like
right.
They're comically horrible. And Ben and the other kids decide they're gonna go rescue her, which is cool. And they're dragging her out to the front yard to go to these.
No, hold on a second. Okay. Here's my issue. Okay. How did they know who her uncle was? Now, she kept saying her uncle, right? And she even tried to call him once. But how did these other kids in 1996 know who? I guess she must have said who he was at some point.
Yeah.
We didn't hear that.
Maybe when she tried to call, they saw they tried to call. I don't know. There was also a lot of talking that went on that we didn't see. You know, I'm assuming that when they were sharing their live stories with each other over and over and over again.
Well, here's the problem, okay? And this is a downvote for me. The girl, this girl right here, said multiple times her uncle was famous. Her uncle was not like her parents. And they seem to be setting up this really important thing about her uncle. Like, I was almost going to wonder, is it like a real famous person? Like, were they going to do something like meta like that? Right. And then, but she never actually says who she is. And it's kind of a mistake that now he just shows up and the other kids know who he is when she actually never says who he is the multiple times she mentions him on screen.
Because if she said he was a newscaster, my first thought would have been like, oh, well, that's where you go to.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. They could have given that away early and then delivered it later.
That's true. You're right. Yeah.
You know, and they didn't. And I thought that was a miss.
I'm going to give that downvote too. You're right. That's a miss. Now, while they're dragging her out to these comically little prisons.
It's like the Home Alone bad guys.
Right. Action News 13 shows up, and it's her uncle, and she's like, "Are you okay, sir?" And the police are already on their way. This guy's wearing the guy's hat. He's like, "You like my hat?"
Like my hat? That was actually pretty funny.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna upvote that because that was actually a callback to when he talked about stealing it. And that's how they save the kid. This guy is clearly a bad guy. Obviously, also, evil white man with a beard. He's the bad guy. And they save the kids. And Ziggy tells Addison, Ziggy tells Addison that apparently he does like this big expose on other camps they had kids at. These guys go to jail, and and the kids are better off, and they go in their adulthood, and like they have kids, and they vacation together, and everything's fine.
You know, the one thing we missed that when you're going through, I was waiting for it, but we missed it, is Addison saves Magic and Jen from the elevator. And I'm just not sure why when like she's here trying to help Ben like survive and not die, that Ian's like, do you think you can come out here and help me save Magic and Jen from the elevator?
Right.
And it made me think of the other like 100 people that seem to work at Project Quantum Leap that we never see, that no one else was capable of getting them out of the elevator. It had to be Addison, who was like trying to save Ben.
Right. I don't get it. What are all these people here for, Ian?
What are they all doing?
Ian, like, turn around. There's like 14 people behind you, and every time they show them, they're like this. They're like
window dressing. Literally, listen.
Clearly
it would have
extras.
been okay if Project Quantum Leap was just these 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because you think back, I mean, the original Quantum Leap only had a few people. It
Right.
could have just been these few people. You didn't need all these other like background players and stuff.
This is literally them every time.
Yeah. Like, what
are you doing?
I have no idea.
It's like, yeah, that is a major criticism for me. I'm gonna download that. No, I already downloaded the people in the. I can't download it twice, but yeah, you're right. It is a major issue though, because she had to come out and save Ian and the other 2 people from the elevator, and that's a downvote for me. How does she know exactly what to do all of a sudden?
Well,
she's a military person. I get her skills inside the imaging chamber with Ben, makes sense. But she comes out to help Ian. She's also a theoretical quantum physicist now?
Well, yeah. I don't know. I think it's just kind of the way the show wanted it to come out, where friends helping friends, and I get it. I mean, there's just, it's not bad. Okay, it's not
bad.
Great.
It's not bad.
And it's not bad. It's just like entertained viewing. It was fun. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, so this episode ultimately, and just to wrap this up, Jen does cave to the peer pressure of her boss, who her father is calling.
Right.
And she calls her dad, "Hey, Dad." And
can we act this out?
I don't see. Yeah, we can act this out. Right?
Can we act out? Put it back on her.
Who do you want to be?
You be Jen, and I'll be Dad.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Hey, Dad.
Oh wait.
I saw you called. I called you back, Dad.
Hey. Oh, Jen, thank you. I'm been trying to reach you for days.
I know. Magic told me.
I'm so glad. Listen, do you want to go get some dinner?
I heard there's a good place that serves dim sum.
Yeah, dim sum sounds good. Can you bring like $1,000? Just, I mean, I may not need it, but can you just bring it?
I guess so.
Oh, thanks. I got a plane flight later
you,
tonight. Tell Magic thanks. I gotta go. It's like, Magic, you just set her up to get crushed again. What did the dad do this time that was like so forgiving and like he's
my God.
He's lonely. Literally, Magic tells her he's lonely and he misses you.
He's reaching out for a reason. Yeah,
like
to get more money.
He's lonely because whatever he spent the money on last time, and he misses you because, anyways, maybe it's all legit. Maybe it's all good. But maybe a better reason would have been, Jen, your dad's sick.
You're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
He wants this last time. He needs to see you.
What's his sick
like
with?
That would have been reasonable.
Like, oh, he's sick. Yes. It's horrible. He has COVID.
Right.
I hope he'll be fine.
It's a little cough. We're good.
All right. So back to the camp, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? They all just agree they're going to be best friends for life. Because, by the way, guys, that works.
What?
When you're a kid and you're like, we're going to be friends forever. I don't even remember the kids' names that I went to school with anymore.
I know.
Do you?
Well, I mean, she did say.
You remember kids that went to school with? You remember their names?
I remember their names. Yeah, I had friends. I haven't talked to them since
high school.
High school?
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, I remember like 2 names: a guy named Mike and a chick named Jen. And I remember the guy named Mike because he taught me how to lift weights. Like I literally didn't know how to lift weights because you were in the military and our dad was just not around. And so I didn't know how to lift weights without hurting myself. And this guy went out of his way to help me. So that connected with me. And Jen, because I made out with her like 17 times. That's everyone else. Remember no one.
Man. Yeah, I get it.
And I married my high school sweetheart.
Well, there you go.
I still don't know her name. What's your name again, babe? Her name is Babe.
One of your friends is you're still with one of your
We ain't go to high school with her, though. She went to another high school.
My bad.
So, anyways, look, I get that. I'm glad Ziggy says they're friends forever, but like, I don't know any. Go
I'd
ahead.
love Ziggy to actually say they're friends forever so we can hear Ziggy's voice.
Right.
They promised us that Ziggy has a voice.
They're
So
friends forever.
you guys got to deliver this, okay? And when we come back on January 2nd, you need to give us some Ziggy voice.
So he remembers the thing with Janis, and he goes to tell Addison, and then of course he leaves.
So the thing he learned, so a couple things. So, and this is important, we got to point this out. She says, Janis says, "Are you sure you want to do this?" In some of the things he remembers.
Mm-hmm.
Are you absolutely sure you want to do this? And then I believe she says something to the effect of, it's not like I have a choice. If what you're saying is true, then I don't have a choice. So there's a couple things we learn from this that I think are important. One, it isn't Janis's revelation of what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that Ben has figured out on his own somehow, and Janis is believing him and helping him.
Right.
Okay, so I think that's important. And then he also gives us the information that he's remembered why he left in the first place, and he said it was to save Addison.
Right. So upvote for me. Ready? Because our review, our theory that you can watch now, it'll be at the end of this video and in the description, and it is very well thought out in my opinion. Good job, Shane. Our theory so far is rock solid.
It is.
Addison's in trouble. The only thing that would make him leap without telling his team is because he needs to save his fiancée. But there's a second part to it. Why is Janis leaping? Because she said she has no connection to Addison that we know of. So there's another part to it that we haven't heard yet where she also doesn't have a choice.
Right. So this was like a little bit of a tease, but not any reveal. So this is what I wanted to say, because you got to remember I'll take an upvote for this. In the very beginning, first episode, he tells her, and this is all in the video if you guys want to go see it. He tells her, this is bigger than you or I. This is bigger than you or me or whatever. That's why he's leaping.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's saying, I'm leaping to save you. So she's just one of many possibilities of things. She's a small pebble in the sea of things that he needs to repair. This is going to be a very big thing that he has to fix.
Right.
And we're hoping it's, evil leapers.
Yeah. We think that, and if you watch the theory video, we think he's saving the whole team. She's part of that team. So when he said,
he's saving the world, actually. Yeah.
Right. And Janis has to help too, because it's obviously going to affect her too. If it was just affecting Addison, there's no reason for Janis to even be on board.
Yeah, 100% is not just so. If you guys forgot, this is a feint. This is what we call a feint. Now it's great. They left us on a cliffhanger, so we're like, oh, we need more information. We can't wait till January 2nd. But it's not. It's a feint. Addison is not his real motivation for leaving. It's part of it, but it's bigger than Addison because he said that when he first told her, "I'm sorry, I had to do this."
Right.
So just something to consider.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up now. Just so you guys know, the last part of this video actually saved it. It was about to be 0.5 score, and now it's at least a 1. That's good. This is probably the weakest of the episodes so far this season, this half season, but still overall entertaining, in my opinion. We will be back January 2nd. If you're watching this, we'll be back the day after that for the members stream and on PCU or the Unleashed. And we're going to be back. We're still going to be here every Thursday for the live show at 1 o'clock. So come to the live show at noon. Come to the live show at noon every Thursday. And we'll be here to talk about Quantum Leap and what we know. And we're still going to be popping theories out. And when January 2nd rolls around, we're going to be coming in hot. So please come back and see that. And if you haven't subscribed to this for some reason, hit that subscribe button. And I can't show it to you because my stream deck stopped working. But hit this. Oh, there it is. Hit the subscribe button on the way to the comment section. Let us know what you guys think about this. Is our theory correct? Are you still on board? Are you enjoying this season? Are you excited, or are you annoyed that you have to wait until January 2nd? Let us know in the comment section below. And that said, keep on leaping.
Ooh, nice. Actually, don't leap because you're not going anywhere.
Don't leap. Don't leap.